Okay, so we're back live now, and I'm just waiting for JazzXZ to confirm in the chat that we can start with the walkthrough. So I downloaded the project file, and this is the extended, not the radio edit, but like that doesn't matter all that much from our point of view. It's not super well organized, but somewhat organized. So I will be able to talk through. So I will be able to explain every sound, hopefully. To my surprise, everything opened up fairly, so without a problem. I haven't even got any missing audio files, which I almost always do. But yeah, so this is a pretty old project file. It's from 2018. So yeah, just let me know in the chat if I can start with the explanation of this project. Sorry for the stuttering and the dropped frames. I have no idea what's going on because I even lowered the FPS, and I also lowered the resolution. So I mean, it's just weird that I still have these many dropped frames. Maybe it's the internet. Something is happening with it. So because it will be weird to like watch this video later on as a VOD if I don't talk about anything for like 5 minutes while I'm waiting for the people to appear. Instead, I'm just gonna start, and then maybe I will restart the explanation if they missed something. So the main idea came from FREAKPASS, and he sent me these stems. I'm gonna solo them. I think this is from him as well. And I kind of deleted most of what he sent and remade the sounds myself, but this was the pillar that I kept. So this is what he sent. So yeah, and essentially I just started adding more and more things to it. So this is not something I would recommend doing. This is just me being silly 2 years ago. This is really messing up the phase of the bass. But yeah, I just did what I did. So I'm not going to really bash myself too much for 2 years ago not knowing anything about mixing really. And so what I did is that I cut out only the side information, which is like pretty stupid, and I added my own sub. So this is the same sub that yesterday I showed in my a different way project file. It's still from the stock bass library, so you can find it here. And this is how FREAKPASS stems sound with this sub. So it's essentially this sub is what's really carrying then everything. If I add more of my layers, you will still hear this sub is really what gives it this body. So this probably this is the main layer, I would say. This is from a preset from Nexus. It's the Christmas 2017 expansion pack. It's Shiny Bell 2, and these layers removed, and it sounds like this. I have this foliage plugin, which is from Prism. This is also a preset, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, number 15 from the 4. So yeah, here it is. In the keys and mullets section, it's number 15, and it sounds alone. It sounds like this. and this is Stab Bells, the Future. This is from a sample pack. Steve Hilo made the original preset, that's what I can tell you, but I'm not sure which preset pack is this sound from. This one sounds like this. I mean, you can just copy paste what you see here in the effects section and matrix section. Can we get these presets? Sure, like I'm just showing them around, so you can what you can do is you can watch back this pod later. When I stop the stream, it will be up on YouTube as a, you can rewatch it, and you can just pause the video right here, and you can just copy paste every parameter that you see. Like you can, for example, see that these are the basic wave tables, or like, I don't know how to say it, and you can use the same. So you can just recreate it by visually, and it's going to sound exactly the same. Processing wise, so probably these are the most important. I'm just gonna solo these sounds without any processing and show what's the difference, and if I hear something needs any sort of explaining, I will do it. Yeah, so probably something will need some explaining here because it's pretty different. This doesn't make as much difference. Still not much. Yeah, so this replica is what's giving it this flavor. So it's set to diffusion with a medium movement, minimal size, and 100% amount, and it's set to dotted, which is like it doesn't matter. What matters is that it's really short, and feedback is like relatively high. I mean, I usually don't have it this high, and it's 84 to 16% is the mix. Best sound bank for deep and future house for Serum, in your opinion? Do I have a Serum here? Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure what is this sample pack called in Serum, because I got this from a friend, but this is where I use a bunch of presets from, and I'm honestly not sure what was the original name of it, because I very often like rename these libraries for me to like make sense. So instead of like having them in my library as deep house something sample pack 1 or something sample pack 2, I just rename it to like deep house future house or like this or that, so that it makes perfect sense for myself later on when I use it. So I'm not sure what it's called, but like this is probably my go-to library. This is the Don Diablo or like sample pack, or like it's marketed with his name, but it's not his, but marketed with his name. This is also pretty good, I would say. It's just a little not that many sounds are here. That's my only problem. Yeah, otherwise, honestly, I don't even use these other sample packs. These are also like future house something, and like I don't know what was the original name, so really sorry about that, but I truly don't know. So back to the explanation. Oh, sorry, I didn't show this these. So again, this doesn't do much. This is just another space expander for basically no reason. I just used to stack these plugins on top of each other without much thinking. And this foliage is sounds like this alone with the effects. I think again it's the replica that's really doing the hard carry of this job. It's creates this type of effect, and then there's another space designer. EQ wise, it's like these are pretty general EQs. I don't think there's like, I mean, this looks very messy, and it's probably stupid to do it like this, but again, I didn't know any better 2.5 years ago, so don't judge me. And again, as I've showed it, this is from Nexus, and it essentially only has this reverb as a space designer, as a like shaping tool once again, but it's doing very minimal job. Like it's minus 30 dB. It's not even audible. Almost no difference. But together they sound like this, and probably this is what you asked, you know, just how to get these plucky sounds. So it's just a bunch of different sounds on top of each other and using different reverbs like these replicas, which is like originally this is a delay plugin, but you can in diffusion setting you can use it as a creative reverb basically. And then on top of replica I'm stacking a bunch of these space designers as well. So yeah, these are cool plugins and you can play around with them, and these can create this type of effect with the plugs. Like this again, probably don't need too much explaining. This is a very basic e-piano this is from Nexus, but you can load this from any other VST or audio unit essentially. This is really just to it's just there to like further emphasize the root note. and there's a fifth to it playing as well. Like this is what I do all the time. It's not a secret. Maybe the breakdowns need this is the sub bass in the breakdown. Again, you can just copy paste what you see here and it's going to sound exactly the same. So Serum is not that complicated, luckily. The reason why I saved this preset as Kung Fu imitation is because there's a Spire is what I need. I used to use this Kung Fu a lot. And it sounds like this. So this is without me tweaking anything. So it already sounds like this. But then I stopped using it because I just felt that this Serum had a it has a little bit different character, which I couldn't get out of Spire, and it's a little bit more like, I would say, mysterious. You know, if I want something to be 100% clean, I will still go for the Spire Kung Fu sound. But if I want something to be a little bit more smoothy and like mishmash, or like I don't know how to describe this effect, what's going on here with tons of reverb and tons of delay, then this just sounds better in those contexts. So it's again a preset from the 2017 sample pack. Some plug, a little bit the attack is removed. Also, it's heavily filtered, because otherwise it would sound like this, and I didn't want it to like really click through, and so that's why I removed the top end. And this is still the Chill in House Lounge, which I used in the previous project half an hour ago, sorry. This fade in, fade out, super heavily reverbed sound all over the place, because I wanted to create this sort of atmosphere. And to be fair, half of this was like around half of this was FREAKPASS's idea, so I'm not taking all the credit here. I'm just showing this project file because eventually I finished this one out and bounced it out myself. Maybe it's also worth talking about a little bit. So this is just because of the template. I have these inactive plugins so that I can, you know, put them very fast into the chain. I don't do this too much anymore, but I used to do it a lot. But yeah, not too much anymore. But I just want to also explain a little bit about the master or mixing chain, essentially. So this is also something that I don't use anymore, is the adaptive limiter from Logic. It sounds surprisingly good. Love to watch your streams. You can learn so much. Keep it up. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. So I see more people are watching it right now than how than when I started this stream. Like obviously, no brainer. But so once again, I just want to say that I'm explaining the Never project file, and if you have any specific questions, this is the time to let me know in the chat about anything about this song. I can show you, because as I've said, I finished this project, so this is everything that all there is. Right now I will go on to the mixing / mastering chain, and I will right now I was about to explain what's in here, and what I already explained was the plugs, and maybe I haven't showed the bass presets, but I will show those in a second as well. Just want to talk about a little bit the mixing and the mastering of this track. So back then I wasn't that smart to put it easily. Share the stems and leads layering. Strongly louder than my voice. Oh, okay, sorry. So the problem is that this is the max volume that I can turn it up to, because I have a so I have this compressor over it so that I never go into red. I mean, I know it's super heavy, but it's so it sounds different than how it looks. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I seriously need to rethink the microphone's position, because it's in a very weird situation in front of me. So, but sorry about that. Next streams I will try to work on this. So what did I miss? Share the stems and leads layering. Yeah, so that's what I already did, but I will do it again and try to explain it even in more depth in a second. But I'm just going to show it with and without the master chain and go through these plugins, and then I'm going to go over the, again, of these separate stems and separate sounds. So yeah, what I was about to say is that back then I wasn't too smart, and I was driving the kick drum way too heavily into the limiter. So basically, the limiting process is working only against the limiter. So the limiting process is working only against the kick. So you can kind of hear this effect, and that's why I have different compressors. This one's not working. Yeah, this one of this middle range a little bit is working from here, but so this is why I have two other compressors here to account for the fact that I was driving the kick drum too much into the limiter, and instead of pulling it back down, I decided to like compress the whole so compress everything else, and that's how this soundscape was created basically. So it obviously does not sound super professional in my opinion, but like again, 2 years ago this is what this is the level that I was on. So again, don't judge me. I just want to take a look at the tonal balance to see what. Yeah, so when you see stuff like this, that's not good. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah. So stems and leads layering. Okay, so by stems I assume you mean all these different plugs, and how did I layer them? I just spent hours and hours and hours and tried out different sounds. Again, I started with what FREAKPASS sent me, which were these. I think these are the only 3 that I kept eventually, because he sent me a lot more, but I just replaced most of his stuff with mine later on. So he also had this bass. This is just an FM bass layer essentially. So So yeah, this is how he sent it to me. It basically, these are doing almost nothing to it. So I didn't make too much difference. My processing didn't make too much of a difference with these. And then I added my own plugins or my own sounds. So started with the sub, which gave it a lot more body. There's this sound from Spire. This is again, this left-right effect is achieved with a replica, and there's a very subtle space designer on it once again. This is yet another layer which is like very, very, very stupid. But as I've said, this is the level I was on back then. So yeah, layering was everything. When, like, you know, nowadays what I would strongly advocate for is to use one sound and make that one sound as good as you possibly can. But back then I used to just, you know, layer these sounds on top of each other and hope for the best, and sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't, and yeah. So yeah, this one I already explained. This is, once again, this is from Serum. It's a preset, sounds like this. You can again just copy paste how this thing looks and it's going to sound the same. So I'm just gonna show the effect section. What sound is that chorus synths? This one, you mean? So this is what I said, is that I don't really know, because this is what FREAKPASS sent me. This is not my stem. I mean, I would assume this is also from Serum, but you need to ask FREAKPASS about this synth. I don't know. And these are the additions. And of course there's this reverb effect like this. So there's this violin. So he also sent me a violin stem which is playing on top, and then there are some separate one-step hits. Okay, I'm back. Great to have you back. Do you want to know anything about this Never project? If yes, just write me in the chat and I will try to explain it if I can. But you know what, instead of my volume, because I'm already driving it into the red, I think it was already distorting, instead of me upping my own volume, I'm gonna just turn down the project a little bit, like half. So now everything should be like much more in level. Like, I mean, from what I see on my meters, hopefully. How do you blend all the synths together so well? I don't know, man. I literally had no idea what I was doing here. I was praying and it happened. Like, I mean, really not much I can tell. I mean, I can show the processing on my buses, for example. Like, I think the C4 is, for example, is doing some really magical things. These are all on one bus, which are remained colorful. And also sidechaining synths together can also make them blend together. Like, my main problem is that my mixes are bad and my tracks are kind of boring. Also, I have like a 2-minute delay. Oh, in the chat you mean? Yeah, I mean, that's the problem is on my part, because I use this Restream chat because I stream to both YouTube, Twitch and Mixer, and the way to do this is like basically only through this platform, and this chat has like a 30 seconds delay or so, or like sometimes even more. If you have 2 minutes, that's like pretty terrible. Sorry about that, but yeah, like this is the best I can do, really. Mixes are bad and tracks are boring. Like, you know, we have all started the same, like on the same level, you know, from ground zero. And what I can tell you is that I've made over like 1,000 tracks in my lifetime now at this point, and it got me only so far. Like, so, you know, if you there are people who are like much more talented than me, and there are people who are working even more than me, and they can get better results faster. But you know, it's very unrealistic for most people to expect that like, you know, in 1 or 2 years you're gonna get to where you want, or like to get to a level where your like idols are producing music. And also it's like another misconception that most people have, that for example the truly major artists are also all the time they are employing other producers as well to work them on their songs. So it's just you know, most people are, you just need more time, and you just need more patience. This is all I can say, and you are going to get to the same level where I am. This is really not rocket science. Also, I'm showing these projects so you can like literally copy paste whatever you can out of these things, and that's going to get you even that much further. Also, if you don't know about this, even if you don't use Logic, the stems are free download of my previous project files. What I can upload, I will always upload, and so you can just use those stems, and it's going to like sound as good as my project sounded. Basically, that's all I can promise. If that's good for you, then that's good. If not, then not. Like, for example, I'm not ashamed, obviously, but like, you know, I'm looking back at like a 2 years old project like this, and seeing how many stupid things I did, like it's weird really how much progress you can make in like 2 years. But still, it's you need to be like really patient with yourself. It's just like that. I'm producing from 4 years working on my mixing. Yeah, like in 4 years, for example, if you're like talented, and if you like work, I don't know, on music like 3, 4, even 5, 6 hours every day, you can, in 4 years you can get to a decent level. But it's still, it requires like insane commitment, and still you need to like you just need to like do this every day, essentially, because that's how you like train your brain and train your ears and all that stuff. Also, what's I would say is very, very important is to like have this is what I messed up, especially at the beginning. Like, I had very, very cheap headphones for a very long time. Like, I would say like 5, 6, even 7 years probably. Like, you know, like under $50. Like that's just a no, like a huge no. If you want to be like even just remotely serious about producing anything good, then you need at least some really what's the right word, like reference grade headphones. Like, I mean, this is the lowest option you can opt for. This is a DJ headphone. It's not even a producing headphone. But like this should be the worst option you're opting for if you're serious. But like the best solution is obviously to get good monitors. Like I have some really good ones now here. These are like not mine because I couldn't afford these, but I have a friend who is essentially lending these to me. So yeah. So this is what I can tell you. It's just, you know, it just takes time, man. Like, it's everyone's like this. It's even like whoever you look up to the most, even he started from the same level you are. Like, it's just, you know, he either worked more, or he has more talent, or he has access to like better equipment faster than you. But time, effort, and patience, this is what I can really tell you, and you're going to get there. I have KR keys. Those should be fine, man. Like, those should be fine. I mean, if your room isn't treated properly, I would still highly recommend getting a headphone. Then you're more than, and it's more than enough to get a consumer headphone to check the low end, because in most rooms that can be a little messy. Hey man, thanks for tuning in. Really happy to hear that. Cheers, man, cheers. yeah, so again, if you have any other question about this never project file, which I have opened right now and I'm kind of explaining it, what I can also talk about maybe is like, so I used to use this kick drum a lot. This is a kick drum that you will find in most of my old Splice project uploads, because I used this kick drum for like a good 2 or 3 years in every single project that I made, and like it's a terrible practice again, and this was just pure laziness on my part, if I'm being that honest. But like, yeah, so it's just a funny fact that, you know, I used this same exact kick drum. It's a Vengeance, I believe. Yeah, it's VEDH2 bass drum 138F. Sorry, I can't count in English. That's way too hard for me. And yeah, again, I have these reverse reverbs, which I always point out in every single project file that I make. These are from the again, from the bass stems. I just bounce out the note, stretch it out a little, and then reverse the sample. And this is what gives it this. So this is why there are no pauses, no gaps between the notes. Because like normally there should be like a pause between tom, 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 but these are filling out the gaps so nicely. It's just really, it's the best trick essentially. That's why I do it all the time. And yeah, maybe I should go through these things once again, because maybe this is the this is what you can learn the most from, probably, like these affecting, even though I'm not really proud of this type of affecting anymore, because I think there are more efficient and more professional ways to do it. So this is how it sounds without this chain. And this is how it sounds with the chain. And most of the work is coming from this replica. And again, this is a very simple plugin, so you can literally just copy paste what you see here, just do the same effects, and it's going to have the same effect on your sound. All you need to make sure is that you have a plucky sound like this one. It's even not that plucky, like I have 7 milliseconds of attack on it, so. Wait, is an hour the big house channel? Yeah, they are pretty big house channel, and I obviously like their sound and this UK house vibes that they are uploading. Yeah, so this replica is what's giving this one the main tone, you know. And this is again something that I probably wouldn't do unless I'm going for something like very extraordinary, is that have another instance with very similar settings of the same plugin. But I mean, it's not even doing that much, so it's like fair enough. But still, it's not super professional, if I'm honest with myself. Again, this is just looks truly unnecessary. The goal is to achieve this shape with as little with as few points as possible, because with every single action that you make, you're flipping the face of the sample, and so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it does is that it creates something that's not as easy to calculate for your processor, or I can't really explain this in English. Like so the takeaway should be is that if you can do this same shape with fewer dots, then do it with fewer dots. That's the takeaway, because otherwise I couldn't really explain it. It's not that difficult, but I have a hard time, like, you know, explaining these effects. Yeah, but like I guess this is about it what I can really tell about this project, really. Oh yeah, about the vocals. The vocals are, again, this is what FREAKPASS sent over to me, and this is from a sample pack, I believe. Where are they? Okay, my laptop can't handle this anymore, but that's okay. Again, very interesting cuts here, but I guess these were like clicking, or again, they weren't exactly on the grid, and I just wanted them to follow along better. Yeah, I remember now that I wanted to like emphasize this sidechain that I already had. And like these are almost unaudible, these little things. These are again just so that without them it felt a little bit less moving. You can make the argument that it's the same with it, but I mean, I can't hear it, but I can feel it, the effect that it does, so it's just another thing. Yeah, the breakdowns. Synths in here are... I have this super high Grandma's AM Radio 2 from Nexus. There's this core. This one I already showed, so this one I also showed, this one showed. I'll never let you in again. And here for the build up, essentially I just introduced the sounds high passed and get them into the drop. Increase the filter. This is again something I wouldn't do nowadays. Is that it just has so it's just too long of a tail. Like, oh come on, like I mean this is just way too much reverb on these sounds in the drop, because so the funny thing is that it kind of sounds good, but it does not sound professional in any way. And the main reason is this, like I mean the high end is too much and the low mid range is like essentially non-existing. I mean that's not true, but like you get the point. I mean that does not look like this super terrible, but it should look better. And yeah, I mean I don't want to bash myself obviously, but today I would do a better mixing job of this, that's for sure. But again, I made this project 2.5 years ago, and it's just what it is. I'm trying to think of anything else. How do you make the violin drone? Is it a sample? No, as I've showed it. You mean the violin drone as in the breakdown or in the drop? Because in the breakdown it's from Nexus, and it's Grandma's AM radio. It just has a filter on it. But it sounds like this alone. And if you meant it in the drop, then I can show it as well. So this is what FREAKPASS sent me. This is, I mean, I think this is the same sample. He just bounced it out with like some distortion maybe or something, saturation. And then this is the violin that I added on top, which is it's the same essentially. It just plays these short notes. It's grandma's AM radio too. Same sound. If you open this preset like this, it's going to sound the same. So maybe this is also a good opportunity for me to like kind of explain why this is not a good idea. What you see here, this is definitely not a good idea to like, you know, stack sub frequencies on top of each other, because every time. So how can I show it in a analyzer? So this is so low definition. This is gonna be better. So this is not even the best way to explain it, but so whenever you have like a sine wave or whatever, so it kind of looks like this. I mean, you have this thing in front of you, hopefully. Like, I mean, I just load up a serum here real quick, and you will see what I'm talking about. So something like this. It looks something like this, and whenever you have the same thing but in reverse, that will mean cancellation. So these shifted faces will cancel each other out, and this is not a good thing to happen with you when you're working with sub basses, because as long as you're just amplifying it, all you need to do is have it under control and just compress it, or like even that's not you know, that's not necessarily a good thing, but it's manageable. But if you have any sort of phase shift, then you will get these momentary cancellations of your sub bass, which is just not good. I mean, I don't even know how I managed to like get out of this situation without any serious cancellation, because I just, you know, like you can see, these are like playing very low frequencies and on top of each other, and this is not something that I would recommend like ever, basically, because this is basically a lottery if it's gonna sound good or not. But once again, like I remember pretty clearly that again I used a very terrible headphone like 2.5 years ago, where I couldn't check for the low end, and I obviously had no idea that this was going on. Is the stems available for this project? Sadly no, and I cannot publish it because this one was released officially via a label, so I cannot just make the stems available. I'm really sorry about that, but like this is not my decision, but this is like, you know, how publishing works. I'm looking for a violin drone from Erics and I can't find a good one. This is a very good one. So for example, if you like again, I just plugging myself once again, but if you go to like splice.com/neostar and you look for projects that have the same sample, if you click the link that's in the description which says stems,